A tale of the audacious in the skies and the audacious in the ground. Zafer the pilot takes off from a seaside city, soaring into the skies like a bird. While the red glow of rising sun washes the mountains in pink light, the plane leaves behind the city, trapped in densely packed, high-rise concrete blocks. Shortly after reaching the outskirts of the city, mountains come into view. Glorious, dark green mountains, covered with pine forests. It's autumn. Dirt roads, lakes, and brooks flow down from the peaks. When viewed from above, Anatolia becomes a mysterious, enchanted painting. Zafer, the pilot, gets excited again. His brave heart is overwhelmed by the magic of the beauty. All of a sudden, his eye catches red patches that stretch towards the foothills. They look like vineyards. Next to them, there's a small cottage with a red brick roof and a smoking chimney. Returning to the plain, he leaves the mountains and villages behind. But the image of the small cottage lingers in Zafer's mind. While his plane hops from one city to another, the pilot's eyes always search for that single cottage. He wonders which crazy hermit lives in it. One weekend, he decided to drive over the mountains to find that little cottage, but more importantly, to find the one who dwells in it. On Sunday morning, he sets off on his own with some cheese and sesame bagels. He drives through villages and hamlets on long, winding roads. He passes by pomegranate groves, vineyards, lamps, and cattle on his way off the beaten track. Eventually, he reaches the vineyards. The joyous chirping of birds guides him toward the remote cottage, and he finds himself standing in front of the little door. Smoke is coming out of the chimney like a veil wafting in a gentle breeze. He calls out, "Is anybody there?" A kitten, dozing in front of the door, opens her eyes and, taking no notice of him, continues to doze. A portrait of Atatürk, hanging in the window, winks at the pilot. A dog runs towards him, leaping and bounding. He lets out yelps and barks, more out of excitement than to inspire fear. He rubs himself against the pilot's leg, stretches his neck up, pleading for the pilot's attention and affection. All of a sudden, the door is opened half ajar. An old man, wearing a thick woolen cardigan, steps out. "Are you looking for something? Who are you? What is it that you want?" he asks. The pilot tells him why he came, how he was curious about this cottage and wanted to meet its resident. The old man introduces himself. "I am Tahsin. Since you came for me, you are my guest sent by God. Come on in. The range is on. The tea is already brewing." Zafer the pilot is not surprised at this. He brings out the bag with the cheese and sesame bagels. He makes himself comfortable next to the range, whispering, "Just what I needed." He gazes at the grapes outside, which are redder than the autumn leaves. They start to talk. Uncle Tahsin asks the young man, "What do you do for a living?" Zafer replies, "You know those planes that fly above those peaks?" He pointed towards the mountains. "I'm a pilot flying one of these planes." Uncle Tahsin looks surprised. He asks, "Aren't you scared of crashing from such heights?" Zafer replies, "What about you? Aren't you scared of living on your own in such a remote area? Tell me, how old are you?" The old man Tahsin smiles. "I must be well over 100. I planted these vineyards. I toiled for many years to bring the redness of the grapes to the redness of the soil. The vines, the quince trees, the leaping dog, they are all like my children. I am not scared of anyone other than God, and I have never needed to go to a hospital. I drink the water from the well and eat the grapes from my vines. These cure me even if I am sick. I cannot be a servant to another man slavishly. I refuse to be imprisoned in a city. I am not scared of getting ill and cannot run. The Grim Reaper has never visited me in my hundreds odd years. He roams around those who worry about their impending death, or those who are afraid of losing their body and material possessions. The beauty of these mountains is enough for me. The eggs of my hens, the homemade bread, water in my well, my birds. Breathe in some fresh air while I get some peppers from the garden. Have them with your bagel. You will remember it when you fly from above. The talk went on. The pilot used to think he was brave until he listened to the fearless wisdom of Uncle Tahsin, accumulated for over 100 years. He ruminated over this pleasant encounter as if he was living in a dreamland, while he chewed his bagel.